Okay, we're going to continue and talk about roots and leaves. So this is the basic structure of a root. We have a root cap, a root meristem, zone of elongation, and zone of maturation. So the epidermis, this is the outer portion of the root, doesn't have a cuticle like leaves and stems do, and it is porous. There usually are many root hairs. So the water will enter through the membranes of these cells or through the spaces between these cells. The cortex layer are made of parenchyma cells. Sugars are linked to make starch for food storage. And the endodermis, that's the inner portion, separates the cortex from the vascular cylinder. So the vascular cylinder is made up of the Casparian strip and the pericycle. So the Casparian strip is around the endodermis and controls water movement. Pericycle is a layer of parenchyma cells also. If you remember when I talked about cells in the other presentation, it is something that parenchyma cells can be many things. It's inside the endodermis, and branch roots can come from here. So there's the endodermis with Casparian strips. So the pericycle is the black portion. And the vascular cylinder is basically our vascular conduits. Contains phloem for moving sugars and xylem for moving water and dissolved minerals. The dissolved minerals are coming from the soil. Okay, here's just a comparison of a monocot root versus a dicot root. They both have the epidermis, of course. There's the cortex, the pith, the xylem, and the phloem. And you can see with the xylem and the phloem, they're scattered like they are on a stem, on a monocot. Okay, leaves trap energy from sunlight and CO2 from air to make food. And when you talk about feeding your plants, we are not able to feed your plants. The plant can feed itself. When you're fertilizing a plant, what you're doing is providing minerals to the plant. So the leaves are where the exchange of gases occur through the stomata, transport of sugars, and waxy cuticle make up leaves. And we'll talk about each one of these. So transpiration from the leaves is what moves water and nutrients up from the roots. Transpiration is the release of water. It's like a giant straw. It's pulling water up from the roots. And we'll talk more about this as we talk about water movement through plants. The stomata they're basically like little pores. And stomata is the plural. They regulate moisture and gas exchange, and that's water and carbon dioxide. They also regulate temperature. They can have a cooling effect as water vapor escapes through the stomata. So the internal structure of a leaf exists of the epidermis, which is the outer layer of tissues, just like stems and roots. Cuticle, which is the protective outer layer of an epidermis. This helps reduce the water loss on leaves and stems and fruits. And it really depends on what kind of light you have to tell how much cutin or wax you have. So plants that are in full sun tend to have a thicker amount of cutin or wax. Leaf hairs are part of the epidermis. The palisade level, or layer, is tightly packed layer of, again, parenchyma tissues, and that's filled with chloroplasts for photosynthesis to occur. And if you remember, chloroplasts are the photosynthetic structures in leaves and other green tissues. They contain chlorophyll, which is a plant pigment. It captures the energy and light and then begins the transformation of that energy into sugar. The vascular bundle, the xylem and the phloem tissues, are part of the leaf veins. And then spongy mesovilli are also parenchyma tissues. They're loosely arranged, and this helps water, oxygen, and carbon dioxide move throughout the leaf. It may also contain some chloroplasts. So I mentioned the stomata earlier. These are natural openings in leaves and in herbaceous stems that allow for gas exchange. And that's water vapor, carbon dioxide, and oxygen. So the plant takes in carbon dioxide, it releases water vapor and oxygen. So guard cells are there to protect excessive loss of water. So they're specialized and they're kidney shaped, and they're the ones that open. These are the cells that open and close the stomata. And you can see they're generally on the lower portion of the leaf. So here we have the structures of the leaf. The epidermis, which has the cuticle, helps conserve water. The vascular bundle helps transport water and sugar to stems and roots. And photosynthesis occurs within these chloroplasts, which are mostly in the palisade layer. So here's your guard cells, and they're swollen, so they're open, and so carbon dioxide can enter, water vapor and oxygen can leave, and here they are shrunken, and the stoma is the singular of stomata, and they're closed. So stomata are surrounded by chloroplast containing guard cells. They regulate the exchange of gases and water vapor. And there's usually there's always kind of a balance between the outside air and the interior of the leaf. That they're looking for that equilibrium. And they're more numerous on the lower epidermis, like I mentioned. So during photosynthesis, as I said, carbon dioxide diffuses in, oxygen diffuses out, and when the stomata are closed, often at night or in a humid environment, this stops gases from diffusing in and out of the leaf. And when we get into photosynthesis, this is just really simplified. We will talk about some of the other ways that plants protect themselves from losing moisture. And here's just a little graphic of water vapor leaving the leaf through the stoma.